2, 1.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Critical James Theory, the podcast. I'm your host, James Knight, and I've been in this room for 2.5 hours, and I feel like I've gotten nothing accomplished. There's so many. You know what I also realized? I realized listening back to the other 2 episodes that I recorded that I say a lot, so I'm going to try not to do that. As I just did that, I'm going to throw myself off of a bridge. Oh, God. Yeah. It's good. Everything's great. Life is great. I had to rearrange this room, basically. I had to move the luckily it was on wheels, so I could just slide it over here because the cable wasn't long enough, and I kind of wanted to situate this podcast room so I'm, as close enough to the middle of the screen as possible. I've had to rearrange first of all, the microphones aren't even labeled correctly in this room. I'm speaking on mic 3. On the pre, it's labeled 5. Hey, guy who set this up, what are you doing? Huh? Learn how to read. So I've had to rearrange the microphones as best as possible to kind of maneuver them because everything's Velcroed on the floor underneath the table, like the wiring. So I can't really turn the table too much. It's a whole lot of stuff. I did all this in 77-degree heat because this room is hot as dick meat, and I can't change the temperature because everything is controlled by the building. And I'm pissed. I'm very pissed. I'm upset. But you know what? The show goes on. I figured out my podcast setup without my engineer, Alec. Shout out to Alec. He's been very helpful for the past 2 weeks, but today I did it on my own. So pat on the back, congratulatory Barry Horowitz pat on the back. Shit though, what's been going on? I don't know. I wrote some notes down. Oh, first and foremost, if you want to support the podcast, please just listen to it and follow it on whatever you listen to, whatever platform you listen to. Hopefully it's Spotify because I have to accrue enough podcast listener credentials again, a currency, to get ads again. So help a brother out. Rated 5 stars. Rated 4.5. Okay, just don't go below that. Unless you hate me. That's how you can support me. If you want to support if you don't know what rock have you been living under, but the Writers Guild, the WGA, and the Screen Actors Guild are on strike. I am not a part of either one of those guilds, but as a future potential hopeful guild member, I fully and wholeheartedly support them. You should too. If you want to, you can go to entertainment. You can donate to the Entertainment Community Fund. I'll put a little thing on screen. Entertainment Community Fund. Help those folks out. Get some groceries, get some snacks, get some food. Help them, help them out. Help them pay their bills, man. Because you've seen these residual checks. Maybe just because I'm not in the guild, I don't know. But these residual checks are like, there's actors I've known and seen on TV for decades who are getting residual checks that are like 78 cents, 40 cents. So help those folks out. Man, what's been going on? I'm going to get comfortable. Oh, boy. I'm sure. You see, I caught myself saying again. I'm glitching out. It's so hot here. It was literally 77 degrees in here. And it's not even that much cooler. It's 74 degrees. I'm just not sweating anymore. So if you see me with a nice sheen on my arms and my face, then that's why. Yeah. I had a stand-up gig. I haven't done a real solo episode for a while, so I'm going to catch you up on a lot of things. I had a stand-up gig at the beginning of the month that If I was going to be dramatic, I would call it a bomb. But I learned. I'm still learning because I'm a human being. I'm ever growing. I don't know everything, and I've learned that the things that I've been calling a bomb aren't necessarily a bomb. A bomb, what I learned, is if you're bombing in front of a stage, you're bombing like they don't like you. Anything that it's like when you're a heel in wrestling. Everything it's like Dominic Mysterio right now in wrestling. Anything that comes out of his mouth, the audience hates. They hate his face. They hate his voice. They hate his walk. They hate everything about him. They don't even want anything to come out of his mouth. That's a bomb. They don't want to know what you think about things. They don't want to hear your cadence. They don't like your face. They don't like the way you walked out to the stage, the way you grabbed the mic. They fucking hate you. They might even try to fight you. So it was nowhere near close to that. But there was some points in there. There were some spots in that set where a set that I'm pretty familiar with did not go as expected. The audience fucked with a couple of callbacks I did in my little 15, and they laughed at the setup to the final callback that's supposed to be my closer. And when I got to the closer, they gave me nothing. They gave me nothing, and it was the first time that had happened, so I didn't really know how to react to it. And I haven't been doing stand up. I've been doing stand up for like 3-4 years. I've been performing improv and sketch for like close to 9. So I should be familiar with like things not landing. But for some reason, when this joke didn't land at the end, my closer didn't land. I had already gotten the light, so I was just like, I don't know, guys. I guess you guys don't know what a callback is. Great, I'm James Knight. Have a good night. And I kind of left it at that. And I walked off the stage pissed. And after the show, like everybody, like a few people walked up to me at the end and was like, "Yo, I loved this joke. That joke meant me like my joke. I have a joke about my mom." And it was like, "Yo, like I lost my mom recently, and that joke really like helped me out. It made me laugh a little bit about a dark situation." And I do a lot of race jokes about being biracial, and there was somebody in the audience who you always gets mistaken for being biracial, but they're white, and they thought that my take on my biracialness was funny. So like they liked the set, but at the very end they just didn't give me anything. And I could not understand why. So I'm like beating myself up about it. I'm not listening to the stand-ups after me because I'm in my head about it. And they kind of did the same thing to... Actually, they did the same exact thing to the comedian who closed the show, Damo Jones. Shout out to Damo Jones. My goal on this podcast, one of the goals of my podcast is to get Damo to finally follow me on Instagram. We know each other. Why won't you follow me? But they did the same thing to Damo. She whatever her closing joke was, they didn't give her anything on it, and she addressed it. She was like, "Oh, y'all didn't like that? Okay, I got a little bit more time. I'll give y'all something else." And she gave him a different closer, and it worked. And that blew my mind. I had no idea that something that simple as like, "Oh, you didn't like that closer? I'll do another joke," could work. So I'm adding that to my toolbox should I ever encounter that again. Because, man, that was the worst feeling I've had in comedy for a very long time. But overall, great show. Shout out to Marsley. Shout out to the Saubana room in Passyunk, I think it's in Passyunk. Monthly show at the end of the month. At the end, last weekend of every month. Go check it out. I had a job interview this past last week. I had a job interview that listen, I kill it on job interviews, right? They're kind of like my thing, but I'm realizing a few things about my interview styles and that they don't translate well over Zoom. It's either that or I don't translate well to white women, both of which I understand. I'm not going to tell you where it was, but it was kind of like a combination of like, theater management and IT work. Two of the things I'm very good at, and paid well, had benefits, was all the things I was looking for. 2 days a week, remote. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I thought the interview went well. I even did the thing at the end of the interview where you're just like, oh, do you have any questions? And I fucking bullshitted 2 questions. To like, what do you like about this job? Oh, what would you say like is like the first 3 months of me working there? Like, what would be your goals for that you see for this position? Goofy shit like that people like to hear. At least I thought that they like to hear. Come to find out, a couple days later, I got that email where it's like, oh, we're going with a different candidate, right? I think I figured out what it is, though. I think it's part and partial. Like, I do better in person. I don't interview well with white women. But I think I think a lot of that is because, and somebody told me this, like, I come across too confident in interviews, and which is a strange thing to say to somebody, but I sometimes people, especially people in positions of power, like to feel above you. They want to feel like, I want to feel like this person needs this job. You know what I mean? Like they think that the job is something other than a means to an end. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe they themselves have hit a wall in their lives, and this career is the thing that, they live and die for. And maybe I don't come out with that please, I don't come out with that pick me energy in an interview. I really don't. I really come out with like, look, my resume's dope. I mean, that not I'm not that bad, but like I do present myself as like, yeah, like my resume's dope. I'm like, it's cool. Like, you could say it, but I'm also willing to tell you why I would be a good fit for this job, but I'm also not gonna suck your cock for this job. You know what I mean? Like, like theoretically, not literally. And I think that sometimes, like, I kind of give off this impression, like, I think they want to be like, they want me to be like, oh, thank you so much for this opportunity to interview with you, ma'am. I am never going to do that, because I don't want to go into that situation feeling subordinate. Even though the position might be subordinate, we don't need to have that power structure. I don't want to set that power structure within the interview. I really don't. I kind of give like a lightweight, I'm doing you a favor by applying for this job because of how dope my resume is. But I mean that it sounds like complete horseshit, but I mean that in the most non-confrontational, non-cocky way, if that makes sense. But whatever for that job. It's a minor setback, but a minor setback, all that means is I'm going to have an even bigger setup. So whatever is in the future for me outside of that place is going to be much better. So fuck you, Margot. It'd be funny if she listened to this podcast, and that's the reason why I didn't get this job. And she's listening to this, and she's like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. That fucking... He didn't check what ethnicity he was on the application. I fucking knew it. That fucking racially ambiguous Dominican, Puerto Rican, Talib. I don't know what he is, but what, you son of a... Whatever, man. White women. Thank God for white women. Oh, somebody's walking around here and they hear me say thank God for white women. I don't really have much to talk about. I wanted to. What I really want to do is I want to get some consistency in. I want to get some consistency in. I want to be able to practice setting up this room and getting the audio right and getting the video right so that I have something to edit every week. So, this is that. You know what I've been reading a lot? Know what I've been seeing a lot lately, and this has been bugging me a little bit. Where are we at in time? We are at 15 minutes. All right. What's really been bothering me, excuse me, is there's this video going around, a country music song, by Jason Aldean. Oh God, I got the hiccups. Fucking great timing to get hiccups. Jason Aldean. It's called something small town. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Jason Aldean. Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. It's got 19 million views. God, there are a lot of fucking racists, huh? Ad. So there's a lot of like talk about like apparently this video has been taken off certain places because it's been deemed as racist. I watched the video the other night. Let me see if I can play a little bit of it. I don't want to get. First of all, that riff is so cocksucky. Oh my God, that riff sucks. He's literally standing in front of a court building with a giant American flag draped over it. I'm talking about somebody on the sidewalk. Oh my God. I forgot how stupid that. I watched it once yesterday and I forgot how stupid that riff was and how the song starts with sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk. Here, let's read the lyrics. I don't want to play too much of it. Let me see if I can get the sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk. Carjacking old lady at a red light. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face. That doesn't even rhyme. Stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough? Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Round here we take care of our own. Wow. So I did watch the video. Watch it. I guess it's got 19 million views already, so it doesn't hurt it to watch it again. Doesn't hurt or help. But the video itself has a lot of like riot footage from over like the pandemic time, like 2020, 2021-ish era. And to be fair, a lot of the riot footage is white people rioting. It feels like they're just saying bad white people, bad, which I'm all for that because the white people that were rioting, like there was a lot of peaceful protests that locally I've seen around my way when that was going on, when George Floyd, when they got George Floyd and shit. And the protests that I saw were very peaceful. And the motherfuckers who were acting up were like I don't even think they were like I'm not even a conspiracy theorist type of dude, but they were like the motherfucker. They were like white kids, white dudes. They had their face concealed. They had like the the ski masks on. I forget what they're called. The shiesties. They were like busting up stores and shit. And even like the peaceful protesters, which were majority black, were just like, yo, what the fuck? Who are these motherfuckers? They your boys that came with you? But I get what they're trying to say. Like, try that in a small town. We'll take care of you real good, big city. You big city slickers. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck. Who's they? That's what I don't like. Like inherently, it doesn't really come off as racist, but there's a lot of what they call like dog whistles and like the visuals in the language, right? Like one day there. First of all, when anyone with a southern accent refers to, one day they're gonna, or I heard they're gonna, there usually implies black people. It almost always implies black people without saying black people because a lot of times they too pussy to say it. Full of good old boys raised up right. First of all, good old boys aren't raised up right because if they were, they wouldn't refer to themselves as good old boys. The video, I didn't realize this until I read some articles about it, but the video itself is shot in front of a courthouse somewhere in the South, Alabama, Georgia, something like that. And I looked up where that was. Jason Aldean courthouse, right? So I had seen a video of like an Uber, like a purple haired leftist lady, which listen, I lean left on most things. But when I see a purple haired white lady, I immediately want to not like whatever is about to be said out of her mouth. It's just my black side coming out. But I saw some video about that, and she was like, "Oh, this video was shot in front of a courthouse where somebody was lynched, where a black man was lynched." And I looked it up. I looked it up, and it is the Maury County Courthouse. The Maury County Courthouse is features the site of a black teen's lynching from back in 1927. So that stinks, right? You can say, well, that is a purely coincidence. And if you believe that that's purely a coincidence, I have a timeshare to sell you. It's in Antarctica. Yeah, Henry Choate, 18, was accused of assaulting a white 16-year-old girl. He was jailed, but a mob of hundreds of white people kidnapped him from his cell. He was tied to the back of a car and dragged across town and eventually hanged in front of the Maury County Courthouse. So, I don't know too many, if any, regular people who just fucking love courthouses, right? Nobody fucking loves courthouse. When you see a courthouse, what do you think of? Jury duty, jail, right? Nothing good. So the simple fact that somebody was like, you know what, I love law, but those types are like, I love Law and Order. Let's just film it in front of this specific courthouse. There's probably a few courthouses in the surrounding counties. Any one of them he probably could have picked, right? But he chose this one. Huh? Now, Do I think that the song should be like taken off of that? No, I think that free speech is free speech, whether you disagree with the shit or not. But oh, hold on, this is a tweet from Jason Aldean, right? Okay, let's see what he had to say. I love when these types defend themselves. I'm not gonna read all this because this is fucking goofy. In the past 24 hours, I've been accused of releasing a pro-lynching song, a song that's been out since May, as if that has anything to do with it, and was subject to comparison that I direct quote was not too pleased with the nationwide BLM protest. These references are not only meritless but dangerous. Meritless, they're certainly not meritless. You did it literally in front of a courthouse that has a history of lynching, so you could have did it at a park. You could have did it anywhere. You could have literally did this at a bar. You could have did it at like a bar or a stadium. You could have did it anywhere, but you chose the courthouse. So there's not a single lyric in that song that references race or points to it. Yeah, that's why they're called dog whistles, Jace. I was present on Route 91 where many's lost their lives in the community, blah, 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 blah. Refers to feeling in the community. Yeah. My political views have never been something I've hidden from. But blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Yeah, that shit's weak, dog. The song should still exist. He should be able to say it. I get it. But the song stinks. And they're dressed so cocksucky. Got tight leather coats. He thinks he's tough. I ain't gonna lie, the song sounds good. Song sounds good. You know, I saw a lot of videos about. There's a lot of videos online about. Specifically, there was a lot of videos about black people reacting to this video, like black reactors on YouTube. And maybe it's because I'm not Southern, but they were completely like all for it. And I don't like. They were like, I don't know. So like, I don't know if people just don't understand what dog whistles are. I don't understand if because they're in the South, they kind of like unknowingly have this like pick me, I'm one of the good ones energy. Or maybe they know it. I don't know, but they could just be stupid too. There's always that, you know. Southern schools are typically very bad in America. So there's always that. I wish black people would do better. This song, I having said that, the song kind of does slap. I just contradicted everything I just said. This song does kind of slap. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a white dude or if I'm a Southern guy and I hear someone in that country twang talk about you try that in a small town, I'm like, yeah, you fucking try that in my town, buddy. Huh? You try that in my town. I'll throw these cans of Bud Light that I refuse to drink at your head and use it as target practice. And I'm back. Yeah, I don't have a lot else to say. Talking to the mic, James. Maybe that's a thing you want to do. Oh, I also wanted to say before I head out of here, because it's 11 p.m., I haven't eaten since noon, and I have an hour drive left. And I have to return this room into the state that it was in before I got here. So, cool. I wanted to say that I don't know what order the episodes I'm gonna the order I'm gonna release the episodes, but uh, I'm gonna. I introduced my first guest a little bit too informally, so I'll make sure that I rectify that um, when I release the episode, because Keen deserves a better intro than the one that I just gave him. I just literally was like, "Oh, this is Keen. He's here." Motherfuckers deserve, especially Keen. They deserve like a better intro than that. Damn. I'm gonna watch NXT when I get home. Should this become a wrestling podcast? Remember when I used to have a wrestling podcast? I used to have a wrestling podcast with two of my best friends, and yeah, me neither. Is there anything else I had on the list I wanted to talk about? You can try that in a small town. Did you know? God, this is me telling on myself. This is me telling on myself. I follow a certain porn star on OnlyFans. I don't pay for a lot of OnlyFans. I pay for two OnlyFans. Two of my favorite porn stars. One is a woman by the name of Skin Diamond. And Skin Diamond is apparently back shooting porn content and charging upwards of $200 for a scene. Hey, Skin Diamond. I can watch this on X videos, okay? I understand that we all have to get paid for what we do, but maybe don't charge $200 for a butthole that we've already seen before. You know what I mean? Be reasonable, okay? That's all I'll say about that, guys. I'll try to have a guest on next time. I realize these solo episodes are fun, but they're more. The more I have guests on, the better the better the episode. Oh, shout out to my first ever stand up class that finished tonight. I'm very proud of those folks. Not a weirdo in the but not a weirdo amongst them. You know what I mean? And what I mean by weirdos is there's always somebody in the class that tries to do something risque to think that to prove that they're funny. They try to be like a little bit of an edgelord. They try to do like maybe it's a white person doing race jokes, or maybe it's maybe it's somebody trying to do like I'm gonna do a pedo thing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't do that, but like don't be new to comedy and do that. You know what I mean? Like start with some simple shit and then build your chops, and then maybe you can try that. Maybe. But it's not for everybody. So shout out to my class who did a great job of not embarrassing me. Oh, real quick, something funny that happened before I get out of here. There's a front desk guy, Mr. Kevin. Mr. Kevin is an angry old black guy. The first time that I got to this building, he's like the main dude behind the front desk, and I didn't know that. I just walked in, and it's the first guy I saw. He wasn't sitting at the desk. He didn't have like a uniform on or anything. It was just a dude in clothes, and he was looking me up and down. Like he literally, like when I walked in, I didn't do anything. I just literally stepped through the door. He looked at me like. So my first reaction, because I am also an East Coast guy, is like I started laughing at him. I was like, "What the fuck are you looking at, dude?" Okay, and I just walked away. And Lisa, who has the badge to get in and out of these rooms in here, let me in. And as we were getting in the elevator, I was like, yo, who's that old dude out front? Like, what's his fucking deal? And she was like, oh, that's Mr. Kevin. He's sweet. He ain't, I was like, does he work here? She's like, yeah, he's helpful. He's awesome. And I'm like, okay, all right. I made a great first impression. So ever since I've been coming in here, I try to not be as assholey as that first interaction. I try to be like, hey, how are you? How you doing? I'm here for the club, And he's usually just like, sitting behind the thing, sees me, and he's like, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So one of my students was like, oh, we should take a class photo. And I was like, genius. That's exactly what we should do. So she was like, oh, I'll ask that guy that's sitting out in the eating area of the floor that we were on. And I was like, I don't see a guy. She steps out. Now, there's motion detector lights. So when there's no motion out there, the lights go off. And the lights were off. They'd been off for quite some time. So I was like, there's nobody out there. Otherwise, the lights would be on. As soon as she opens up the door, the lights come on. And she says, hey, mister, can you da-da-da-da? And sure enough, it was him. It was Mr. Kevin she was talking about. Now, first of all, Mr. Kevin, if he's been sitting there for a while, he's been motionless for I don't know how long in that sitting area. So he was just literally just sitting there not moving at all, which is insane. And also very funny to me. So he begrudgingly does it. We gather everybody. And he's not really a dude that's like into taking pictures, it looks like. So he takes the phone and he's like, doesn't really say, doesn't give us a countdown or anything, doesn't say, all right. No direction at all. He just kind of stands there and is like, oh. And before all that, she's like, oh, can you take a picture of us? And jokingly, in joking white woman fashion, like small talk, she's like, we will be, maybe you'll be taking pictures of somebody that'll be famous one day. And, and he literally takes her phone and he's like, no. Oh, what a dick. And so he takes the picture, right? And she's like, oh, maybe we can do like a silly one. And he's like, you've got 4 pictures. Oh, man, that guy hates. I'm just glad that it started that guy just hated me. I'm now glad that he hates my entire class. So shout out to that guy. That's it. That's it for this episode. Like, subscribe, or if you're on YouTube, give it some stars. Subscribe on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. If you're doing an audio, if you're doing the audio version, Spotify, Apple Music, they mean the most. Yeah, follow me on social media at James B. Knight. The YouTube page is at James B. Knight. At James B. Knight on all the others. I think that's it. I think that's it. I'll be back with another guest. I don't know who, but it'll be somebody funny and worth your time. So I thank you, whoever is still listening to this. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. All right? Later. Damn, my elbow's ashy as shit.